Kettlebells are nonsense. Well, take it from me, from someone who has done all the kettlebell training that you can do, cleans, snatches, swings, windmills. I've done it all with the kettlebell. So why am I saying that these things are nonsense? I've got 3 kettlebells sitting behind the mirror right there. What's happened in my career of training and training other people, training myself and training other people, is that I've found methods that work and don't work, and things that are safe and not safe, things that are effective and not effective. And what's the old saying? You live long enough as the hero and you find yourself the villain, or some quote like that from one of the Batman movies. You'll find yourself as the villain. Use kettlebells long enough and survive long enough with kettlebells, and you'll find out that they're the villain. What I mean by that is these things are dangerous, very technical lifts that require a lot of skill that don't translate into what people are using them for. Now, if you want to use kettlebells to get better at kettlebells, fine, by all means, because you enjoy doing a kettlebell movement. Like I said, I love a kettlebell. I've done all different sorts of exercises with kettlebells. They were a part of my fitness journey, but the risk reward from kettlebells, it's nonsense. Why would you ever do something that is at such a high risk, with such high speeds, with such, again, technicalities involved, that if you do one of them wrong, you're going to hurt yourself? I just was listening to a podcast where someone talked about they were doing some swings and their back is out. Why would training ever jeopardize your health when that's the reason why you're there? You're there to get healthy, to get strong. If you're there getting injured, you're doing the exact opposite of why you're supposed to be in the gym. So the reasons why they're nonsense is because of that technicality. You have to have all these different checkpoints perfect. The high speeds, because you're swinging them, or especially with the kettlebell swing. If you're using it like a dumbbell and you're just pressing it or curling it or something, that's different. Squatting with it, that's different. But if you're swinging, snatching, cleaning, those types of movements, those things are not only are they dangerous and technical because of those high speeds, because of the heavy weights. Force equals mass times acceleration. We want to try to keep forces low if we want to stay safe. But the reason why they're nonsense is because they don't train what you think you're training. You're there to get cardio and weights. That's what people tend to say what they want with kettlebells. They're like, well, I can get a weight training and I can get my cardio in. Well, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up like any other cardio movement. You're going to become more and more efficient at that movement. Now, again, if you don't become super efficient because your technique is off, you're going to get hurt. So you're not even going to have a chance to do that. But once you do become efficient, once your technique is really, really good, you no longer work your muscles to the level of extent that you want, which then in turn doesn't give you the same cardio benefit, because cardio, you have to stress your muscles for your body to use your heart anyways. That's why walking and running and doing, you have to use your muscles to get to your heart. Okay. So because the blood has to pump to the muscles to, again, pumps from the heart. So anyways, if I'm super efficient and it becomes smooth and effortless and easy, I'm not going to be challenging my muscles. So then my workout is just about moving weights, weight lifting. That's different than, again, what many people are in the gym for. Many people, like myself, are in the gym to get strong with their body, to increase their bone density, to increase their muscle mass, to look good and feel good. If your goal is to lift weights, to move a kettlebell, to move a barbell, to move a dumbbell, that's different. That might be your goal. And if that's your goal, then kettlebells are great. But for the purposes of getting strong, getting lean, or getting more muscle, or getting just healthier in general because your bone density is up and because you look good and you feel good, if those are your reasons why, kettlebells should be one of the last things you ever consider. In regard to the swings, the snatches, again, those more Olympic lifting type things. And then typical kettlebell training always usually involves some sort of swing. So with that being said, what should you do instead? We've talked about it on this channel. I've given links to Doug McGuff and Jay Vincent and Drew Bay. Find training that is safe and effective, meaning the muscles it doesn't matter what speed you move at. The muscle responds to need, the need of effort. You can do that going super slow. You can do that doing isometric. You don't even have to move. There's no danger in not moving. If I'm just pushing up against an inanimate object, there's tons of different ways that I can do this. But you want to work on the effort level with perfect technique. And it's easier to use perfect technique when you're doing things that are less weight and less speed. I'm keeping those forces down. I move slow and controlled. If something goes out of whack, I can change it. When I'm going fast and I'm moving, it's hard to see it. Even as a trainer, it's hard to find those technique points to tell you, you need to change this, you need to change that. So you go slow, you work to failure or close to failure. You, again, change direction slow, the exact opposite of a kettlebell. A kettlebell, you're snapping it up and down, boom, boom, driving through. Whereas this, you're transitioning slowly, maybe even coming to a complete stop, maybe just doing an isometric hold. That's gonna allow you to, again, be safe in the movement. And if you exhaust those muscle fibers, that's what you're looking for in a training program. That's what you're trying to do. If I try to exhaust my muscle fibers by doing a kettlebell swing, my form will be bad. I will have to suffer in regard to the form, which means my chance of injury is not, there's not a chance. Get rid of the chance. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. When my form goes with a kettlebell, it's guaranteed. You see, Pavel Tetsulin, who was one of my mentors. I used Pavel for lots of things because I did tons of kettlebells when I was doing all this different type of training. Like I said, I've done it all. You listen to this guy talk and he says he can only do kettlebell swings and dips because of his shoulders, because of his back, because of his, he can't do any of these other lifts. He can't do any of these overhead lifts. And this is the guy who brought kettlebells over to the United States from Russia. He popularized them here at least. And that guy can't even do the exercises he talks about. And he's not that old. I forget how old he is, but he's not like he's 80, okay? He's somewhat young. He's somewhat fit. But he can't even do those exercises because of the wear and tear. You hear this with people who do CrossFit. Anybody who's doing this high force, high speed, who does a lot of these movements, they can't do that for very long. They can get some results about it. What I would say is they're getting these results in spite of the fact, not because of the fact that they're doing these movements, in spite of. They're probably more technically gifted like myself. I'm someone that I could get away with doing tons of kettlebells and tell you that they're great for you as well. They're not, but I could because I have the technique that goes along with it. I have a pretty generally good physique. I can tell when my form is going. I can set the weight down. But most people, they're not on that level. They're not like a professional athlete that's just gifted with their body. I'm not saying that I'm a professional athlete. I'm just saying of the like. Their body and their brain are very, very in good communication. They can do these movements that are technical very easily. They can figure out the technique fast. Whereas most people, at least the people that I train, it's hard. And again, that risk goes up. But again, there's no reward for it. If you really want the reward, you'd be doing slow to failure, slow transition movements with moderate weights. You don't have to go ahead. You could go lightweight, but as long as you're going to failure and as long as you're exhausting all those muscle fibers, you're going to get the results that you're looking for. If you're training the whole body, well, I get a full body workout when I do my kettlebells. Why don't just train your full body? I do a full body workout once a week in 30 minutes. I do 2 full body workouts, but if I really just wanted to break it down into one, I just started adding in twice a week, which I didn't even do one this week. I did 1 workout this past week, and I'm going to do 1 this week. 1 workout, less than 30 minutes, full body, completely exhausted. Safe, not going fast, all right? Do I still have all my athleticism? Yeah. If I want to keep my athleticism by doing those athletic events, they're not transferable. If I want to get good at kickboxing and beating this guy around, I have to kickbox. Nothing I do in the gym is going to help my kickboxing unless if I kickbox. The things that I do in the gym will help me kickboxing if I'm not injured, right? But the only way that those things are going to translate is if I keep my skill of kickboxing up. If I don't do that, if I get stronger in the gym and I don't marry my strength with my skill, then it's all a waste. So you have to constantly do the same things if you want to do that. And that's why I love working out in short amounts, not 6 days a week, because it allows me to do other things that I want to do. I don't do a ton of kickboxing, but it allows me to do that, and I don't have to then be like, oh, well, I have to work around my training. No. I do my training, I do that. If it's running, if it's whatever it is that you want to do, what you do in the gym should be a supplement to it. It shouldn't be hey, I'm going to do this thing in the gym to get me better at what no, they're skills. You have to practice them, just like kettlebells. If you want to get better at kettlebells, you do more kettlebells. But doing kettlebells ain't going to help you with anything else. You got to practice your skill. And again, if I get better at a skill, I become more efficient at it. So the whole attitude on getting a workout or training or move or using my muscles and getting a cardio workout, it starts to go out the window because you're more efficient. So your muscles don't work as hard because of efficiency means you're doing less work. So now you're not using your muscles, which means you're not going to get as good of a cardio workout, which means the whole reason why you're there is gone. If you really want to get those results, make a sound training program. I talked about stop looking for the perfect training program in a couple of videos back. The one doesn't exist, but the training principles that you should be thinking about that overlap any training program are doing things safely and effectively, meaning you're going to go safe by going slow, and you're going to be effective by exhausting every muscle fiber that you can get your hands on from head all the way down to toe. And that should be taken into consideration in any exercise program. But if you don't know what those are, I'll link to, again, Jay Vincent and Drew Bay in this video. But that's why kettlebells are nonsense. Put them down, get a sound training program. If you don't know where to start, you can look at the links in my description. That's it for today.